Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. My name is Jackson Fontaine and thank you for joining me. Schools are back in session as the holiday season is officially over. In our first Beyond the Classroom of 2025, we look at Lloyd Comp High School gearing up to put on a musical.
Hadestown, a relatively new Broadway musical, is making its way to Lloydminster, hosted by the Lloyd Comp Fine Arts Program. Centered around mythology, the play plans to explore the topics of love, loss, and redemption.
It's based on Greek mythology, but it's kind of like transporting it to more like the modern era. You have kind of like the blending of two different myths. You have Eurydice and Orpheus, and then you also have Hades and Persephone. So it's like kind of like their two love stories that are kind of intertwined. So without giving away too much, that's kind of the gist of it.
Lloyd Comp is eager to present this play to the public, with the students captivated by the plot and already getting into character.
I'll be playing Hermes, who is, well, an adaptation of Hermes, a more steampunky 1960s Great Depression-esque look at the character. I'll be the narrator of the story, and while I won't be as fast as I am in the myths, I'll be around the stage quite a bit.
From a teaching perspective, the Lloyd Comp staff is thrilled with what this program brings to the participants.
You know, you get more in touch with your emotions. You have that ability to connect with all these other students, you know, who have similar passions and similar interests, which you don't always get, you know, in all the other classes you might have.
Hadestown is planned to be on January 17th and 18th at the Vic Juba Theater. And that's all for this week's edition of Beyond the Classroom.
This is your classroom. Hands-on learning like you've never seen.
With the new year upon us, more and more people are following through with New Year's resolutions they've set for themselves. Arlene Hoffert has more on how people can stick to their resolutions throughout the year.
A common New Year's resolution for many people is to start living a healthier lifestyle by exercising and eating better. World-class gym owner Renee Weinkauf says there is always a spike in membership at the beginning of the year.
Just like every year, everybody gets their New Year's resolution time in, and the gym does spike quite a bit. Kind of the good thing about our gym is we only let a certain amount of people in here anyways, so you don't get that influx of 100 people at once. That's too busy for me. But yeah, there's definitely an influx of more members right now.
Weinkauf says that lots of people starting out with their New Year's resolutions tend to go overboard with their goals. He says the best way to start is by easing into a routine.
I would start out the gym, 2 or 3 days a week, ease into it. A lot of people will come in and they'll do five days a week, 1 hour workouts. You could come in for 3, 4, 5 days, but make it half-hour workouts, or come in just for a couple days a week and then slowly, progressively start adding more and more and more. So it's not such a big shock to your brain, to your body, emotionally, everything. It's a big shock.
Though many people decide to go to the gym in the new year, few consistently work out after the first 2 months. Weinkauf's advice for people who are thinking about dropping their healthy new habits is to stick to their goals and reap the benefits of their consistency.
Everybody starts and they can make the first month, they can make the second month, but right after the second month is where people really start to dwindle. So make it to the third month, guys. I promise you, if you can make it to the third month, it becomes an addiction. You will love it. You will want to come back for more and more and more. You're going to see the progress in your change, in your attitude, in your all-around lifestyle.
Exercising and eating healthier may seem like a daunting task to many, but setting realistic goals and putting in the work over a long period of time can smoothen the transition to a healthier lifestyle. Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News.
Vermilion has their annual Malonka celebration coming up this Saturday. I have more on this year's celebration. I'm pleased to be joined here today with Aaron Winnick from the Ukrainian Culture Association in Vermilion. Thanks for joining me today.
Welcome.
So you guys are going to be celebrating Malonka in Vermilion, but before we get into any details, For anyone who isn't familiar with it, could you just explain to me what Malonka is?
So Malonka is what the Ukrainians celebrate. It's New Year on the Orthodox calendar, so it's the same kind of idea as what we do on January 1st, but we're just a week later.
And Aaron, what would you say is the significance of Malonka in Ukrainian culture?
Well, Ukrainian culture uses the Orthodox calendar. They used to until the war in Russia began. Actually, quite recently, most Ukrainians are now not celebrating Malonka as we've traditionally do in the second week of January. They are now celebrating the same New Year and the same Christmas as we do in Canada. But because of the way things are in our country, and we've been doing this for so many years, it makes it easier for us to keep separating it and still be able to celebrate our Ukrainian traditions and cultures that we're so used to here.
Okay, so what will you guys be doing in Vermilion to celebrate Malonka?
Our Ukrainian dancers, we have ages from about 3 to 50 dancing this year. And we're going to have a supper and a dance. We're going to have a performance by our Ukrainian dancers. A good Ukrainian meal with all the fixings. Everything is like a nice homemade Ukrainian meal. And a DJ and a dance to follow.
So this celebration seems like it's an annual thing. Is that correct?
Our organization in Vermilion, we have been doing this for over 40 years now. We've had a lot of memberships throughout the years, and we've had a lot of great people that help us out. We organize this every year and keep it a great success every year for our kids. And all the funding that we have from this Malonka goes towards our dancers. It helps pay for the instructor fees, and it helps pay for setting up the Malonka, our festivals, and it also pays for our the dance rooms and stuff we need to rent in order to be able to keep our kids dancing.
Other than celebrating Malonka, what makes you guys want to put on an event like this?
I think the greatest thing with doing an event like this is it gives our kids something to look forward to. Like, they work very, very hard throughout the year to learn these dances and to memorize all the steps. And it gives them an opportunity to actually show everybody what they've done throughout the year and their progress. And it also gives us a chance to express our traditional Ukrainian dance and our culture with other people.
And Aaron, when and where will this event be taking place?
The Vermilion Regional Center this Saturday, January 11th. Doors open at 4:30. We still do have some tickets left for sale. You can contact me. There's posters on Facebook and all over town. I believe there's some in Lloydminster as well. 4:30 doors open. Supper and performances start around 5:30. And the dance follows, and it goes right through the night until about 2 a.m.
So you mentioned posters are around Facebook and Lloydminster and Vermilion. Is that where people can find out where to get tickets?
The tickets are available through me through text. They're also available at Simple Pleasures in Vermilion and Vermilion Credit Union. You can also go to our Facebook page. We do have a link that you can purchase tickets online as well.
And finally, is there anything else you'd like to add that I might have forgot?
I just would love to see that place full, and I hope everybody that comes and has a great time. Actually, I know they will. We're going to have a good meal, good fellowship, lots of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it for this year, and hopefully we can continue this tradition on for years to come.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure, like you said, it's going to be a great event. Once again, that's at the Vermilion Regional Center this Saturday. Thanks for taking the time to do this today, Aaron.
Thank you.
We'll have more primetime local news after the break. January can often be a stressful month, and it's also a time when many couples decide to separate or divorce. Stacy Comer has more.
Well, we are back with one of our favorite people here at Primetime Local News. Stephanie Dobson is joining us. Stephanie is a lawyer, mediator, and online educator with Hankin Divorce Law and Mediation offices in Lloydminster and Edmonton. Stephanie, welcome back from the holiday break, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, Stacey.
And we're going to be, well, I guess kind of a little bit of a downer today because January is International Divorce Month, but there's a reason for that, and I'll get you to elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, it's dubbed International Divorce Month because it's really a month where we see a sharp spike in families around the globe deciding to embark on their decision to separate. And I have a particular passion for talking with families in January because I really think it's important for people to be as informed as possible when embarking on that journey. And so for today's episode, I've thought of 4 tips that we can go through and have our viewers consider if they're deciding to separate or divorce in this International Divorce Month.
All right, and that first tip, Stephanie, is, as you mentioned, making sure that you get informed before making your official decision. So let's go with that one first.
Yeah, so once the decision to separate has been made, the ball can really start rolling quite quickly. And sometimes decisions have to be made without really having that opportunity to think that through. And so I encourage you, before even the decision to separate has been made, is to get as informed as possible. So here's a few ideas of how you can get informed. First, organize your finances. Some people go through their whole marriage and they don't know much about their finances. So now it's really that time to start learning. So start gathering your documents. Your lawyer or mediator is going to want things like bank account statements, investment statements, credit cards, lines of credit, mortgage information, and other such things. So even creating a budget so that you know how much is coming in monthly and going out monthly is helpful. So second, you might want to take a look at some online resources. So there's, of course, tons of ways to learn online these days, but one option is to take the Parenting After Separation seminar. If you just do a Google search for that seminar, it will come up. It's a free course, and it's mandatory for most parents who are divorcing. And the third way to get informed is to have that consultation with a lawyer or mediator. They can really help you be guided during those initial stages, and they can even meet with you in confidence prior to separation to help you to be as informed as possible.
Okay, and the next tip that you have, Stephanie, is to think short-term first.
Yeah, so when you're first separating, it's best to avoid any long-term permanent decisions, but you're going to want to think of a couple of them at first. So number one is on the parenting front, and number 2 is on the finances front. So on the parenting front, you're going to want to think of a schedule for your children in 2 homes, but trying to maintain that stability, consistency, and routine as much as possible. You know, talking with the kids about the separation, setting that parenting schedule is going to be one of the first things that you're going to want to do, at least on a temporary basis. And the finances is a parent-parent conversation, of course, to make sure that you've organized what are those monthly bills that you've got, and then who's going to pay for things, at least on a short-term basis.
Okay, and the next one, Stephanie, is to take your time before making that decision to separate.
Yes, this is, of course, at the very early stages, but, once you throw around that big D word, divorce, it's really difficult to come away from that word. So it's really important to make some good decisions right at the beginning and make sure that that's the direction that you want to go. So I've got a couple of really good books that people might want to check out. So the first one is called The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. So this book, of course, the title tells it all, how to help you to decide if you're going to stay in the marriage, how to make that marriage work. And the second one is called Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay. And this is about getting out of that relationship ambivalence. So, just a couple of books. There's tons of books out there, but those are just a couple that I thought of.
And the last one, Stephanie, and probably the most important one, is to make sure you're focusing on self-care.
Yeah, so prioritizing your physical and mental health is so important. This is, of course, a huge life change, and you'll need to seek support from family, friends, even a therapist to help you get through those rough times. Creating a support network of encouraging people around you, as opposed to toxic people around you, is so important. You might want to consider how you want to move forward yourself, both personally and relationally. Self-care also can relate to communication boundaries. So you're going to need to communicate with your former spouse, especially in these initial phases of separation. And it's really important that you create those boundaries and make sure that there's respect, clarity, directness in your communication, and this will pay dividends in your own well-being.
All right, Stephanie. Well, thank you so much. And we will be continuing to talk about International Divorce Month, which is January, for the rest of the month here as well. So we have lots more to come on this. And thank you again for joining me. We'll be back to chat more about this next week.
Thanks, Stacey, for having me again.
If you're planning to travel to Europe this year, be prepared to deal with some new rules. This will roll out in stages, but starting today, Canadians will need an electronic travel authorization known as an ETA to travel to the UK. Passengers can apply online. It costs just under $18 Canadian. Meanwhile, the rest of Europe will be putting a similar system in place at some point this year. We'll have more news after the break.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
LPSD has just announced that they will be opening a new school called the Pursuit School of Sport this coming September. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
Today I'm joined by Jason Neville, the Director of Education for Lloydminster Public School Division, and he is here today to talk about the Pursuit School of Sport, which is a new school that will be opening up in September. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Jason.
No problem.
All right, Jason, so tell me a little bit about the idea for having this school and all of the processes of getting it opened up, and just where the idea and the want for this school came for the Lloydminster Public School Division.
Okay, perfect. It kind of starts with seeing some the aspiring athletes that have had some challenges in the regular classroom and have kind of gone to online learning. Some have even left the school division to do homeschooling. So just the idea of what can we do to fit education more into their schedule, I guess, and give them that opportunity still to aspire to succeed athletically as well.
And so is there going to be, with this program, you're going to be working with all of the local sports organizations, but is there going to be any sports organization within LPSD that are going to be working with this school or specifically run out of the school?
No, it'll be the school will handle the education, and we're going to partner with any organization, any sport organizations in the community that want to do some work with athletes during the day, or those where they're leaving on trips on Fridays, anything like that. We'll work with those organizations. They'll handle the sports side of it. We will handle the education side, and kind of work together, talking back and forth to make our schedules jive with their schedules.
And then one question, just for, of course, all the kids that are very big into these sports and spending a lot of money on it. For those who are maybe a little less privileged, who are using other programs to be able to do sports, is this school going to be open to them that maybe aren't able to financially support themselves but still would like to pursue an academic career while also pursuing a sports career as well?
Yep. The sports, the fees will be paid to the sport organizations. So if it's a golf program, the fees would be paid to the golf program, and we could help families find supports that way as well to pay for those fees. But that's handled by the golf program, and we're just handling the education piece. So as long as there's a need for them to have a specialized schedule, then they would come to this school. Yep.
And let's talk a little bit about those specialized schedules. What exactly are you thinking with those, and what specific different things are you guys going to be doing to help specific athletes with their schooling, and how those different things, whether it's online or just specifically in the classroom, to help them have their best education while also pursuing athletic careers?
Sure. We would start with the conversation with the athlete and with their sporting organization, figure out what the training schedule does look like during the day, and then try and cater a class schedule to that. This is just in theory right now. Once we get going, I'm sure it's going to evolve over time, but I see almost a two-tier schedule where if they're training in the morning, well, they're maybe on path A, but if their training's in the afternoon, then they'd be on path B, and you just kind of flip-flop those schedules that way. So there'd be a lot of that. There's going to be access online where if they're in class Monday, Tuesday, but they're training on that Wednesday, well, that lesson would be online, that they can access that. And then just also some varying due dates for assignments. They may be gone for a while, so then they get a little bit more time for assignment completion and test writing, that stuff.
All right, perfect. And so finally, if people want to get some more information and possibly apply to become part of this school when it opens up in September, as well as some of the other things like where it's going to be located, and again, information for if they want to become a part of this school program.
Sure. All the information is on our website right now. We've got a landing page there. As soon as you go on our website, you'll see Pursuit up in the top corner. So that'll take them to frequently asked questions, what the vision of the school is, all those type of things. Registration will open beginning of February is what we're shooting for, and then they can start registering there, and that'll feed to us, and then we'll reach out to those families that register that way. I've also been in contact with some community partners already about setting up meetings there on how they can be part of it and how we can work together there. So they can also access the website as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for all the information. We definitely look forward to this school opening up this upcoming next school year. And again, thank you so much for all the information today, Jason.
Thank you.
And now let's take a look at our intelligent pets with our Pets of the Day. We'll now take a look at the weather forecast for the next few days. Tomorrow, little colder than today, -4 with the high, -9 with the low. Friday, bit of ice in the afternoon, high of -1, low -4. And Saturday, a little bit of snow maybe and a high of -1. And that is all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thank you for watching and have a great day.